Hello. Be
Yeah,
back.
mate. Thanks for coming back, man. So we're talking about the new album, War Machine. Why the title? We've already spoke about. Who did the artwork? Because it's a great album, as you can see behind me.
Oh, we have because you asked me, I completely forgot. Um, he did our last artwork. He did Nature of the Beast as
Right.
well.
Okay.
Um, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. I'm so sorry. I don't. It will come to me in 10 minutes. But same artist who did Nature of the Beast. I will say something on this artwork.
Yeah.
I feel for the artist. He had 24 hours to do that cover.
Wow.
Yep.
How? What
Yeah.
happened? Tell me.
We
Explain.
yeah, we finished the record. We had an image that we wanted, but we couldn't get a license on it in time. And the release date was coming up. They fit us into an advanced release date because we wanted to be done before end of year, which
Yeah.
is a little weird. Most time people want to start the new year, but we wanted to end the year so we could technically begin the new year with the same brand new record because it's new. So,
Yeah.
anyways, we had to do the artwork 24 hours, and I completely forgot. But if I
It's
remember, I'll tell you.
it's a fantastic album cover. It kind of reminds me of a cross between War of the Worlds,
You're thinking of, but another
Battleship.
one.
Is it Battleship or something?
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
think
Yeah.
it is. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it kind of reminds me of those two put together.
yeah. I mean, it feels like that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a war machine has to survive all these volatile environmental kind of scenarios, right? And
Yeah.
that certainly it's showing you in there. Of course, it's fighting this godly alien aircraft,
It's,
It's like,
are you going to be doing t-shirts of this for the tour?
yeah, they actually did them already. The label Frontiers have T-shirts right now on sale on their website for them. So people
Wow.
can get them. But yeah, I believe we are. In Japan, though, they did completely different artwork.
Oh,
You know,
really?
yeah, they used the different artist. Teru, who's great. He did a couple of artists. The Nature of the Beast cover he did was really cool too for
Oh,
Japan.
yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah, the
Yeah,
alternative cover.
yeah, and Teru did it, and he's fantastic. Great player and great artist. So
So, what did he do for this album for the Japanese version?
it looks a bit more like Godzilla annihilating a city.
All
Yeah,
right. I'll have to
yeah.
check that out, see if it's on Google Images.
Yeah. I really like doing stuff like that because it makes the record unique for each marketplace.
Yeah.
Like culturally, my taste may be different than someone in Europe. So I like the fact that the people living in those countries have input on our image.
Yeah. Do you think that if this cover could be offended to the Japanese? Because I know them sort of countries are very, very, what's the word? Touchy about them being, about war and stuff. Do you think it would have offended them, that cover? Is that why you had it changed?
No, not at all. Not at all. And listen, I mean, I love Japan. I love the people of Japan. So
Yeah.
I always be very sensitive
Hmm.
to whatever their need is. No, war is unfortunately it's a fact of life.
Yeah.
There's war is not just countries fighting one another. It also can be businesses fighting one another, sports teams fighting one another. It's like life seems to be a constant struggle for most people, right? And so you got to be like this war machine to get through it and survive and rise to the top.
So you're thinking 24 hours, this is one shit out album cover. For 24 hours work, that is
I think
fantastic.
I think he did a great job. I was blown away that he did that in 24 hours. Like, man, this is so cool.
Some people can't even do that in a month.
Exactly.
You did
That's
really
right.
well to get an amazing cover like that. When I saw the cover, I was like, wow, I thought, shit, this is going to be a heavy album. It's got to be. But it is a very, very heavy album. I mean, all your albums are heavy, except for Standing Line, like you said, very influenced by Rainbow. But all your albums have been really, really heavy. But to me, is it the fact that this is a really heavy album because Paul's on it? Would it have been as heavy as this without Paul?
Hmm. Good question. If I think about that, how his contribution affected the music, yeah, I'd say that's fair. I'd say definitely Paul made the music heavier the way he plays. He hits really hard. He has a great feel, even though, yeah, he's thrown in with all those thrash drummers, right? But he has power and a swing. He makes the music feel good. He excites the music when it needs to be excited. He makes the music bigger by the power in his playing. So yeah, I'd say Paul had a substantial amount of contribution for why this record sounds as heavy as it is.
So where was this album recorded? Was it yourself that produced it? Because you've done a lot of the albums in the past. Did you do this yourself, or was it a band thing?
Yeah, but it's really you're only as good as your team, right?
Yeah, right.
So we recorded the record at NRG Studios in California and Hollywood. NRG is notorious for bands like Guns N' Roses, and it's a very big, well-known, expensive studio. And so we decided to go into the B room, which is it's Moroccan. It's insane. It literally looks like you're in the Taj Mahal. It's got a great vibe to it. So I brought in, the band, set everything up. We brought in an engineer named Mike Plotnikoff. Mike is very well known. He's one of the big producers in rock music, period.
Yeah,
He's
who's he
worked with
worked
every,
with? Who's he worked with, Chris?
sure. He's worked with, well, when I say work with records he's
Yeah.
done Van Halen, Aerosmith,
Oh,
AC/DC. He's done In Flames, the new In Flames record. A lot of the bands Howard Benson produces as well, who's another big producer. Mike works on
right.
engineering, etc. So he was on the record. I mean, he did the engineering along with June Morikawa, who's one of my real dear friends. June also engineered the record with us, and June, he just the last records he worked on. One of my really good friends is Joe Barisi, the producer, and June and Joe, they just did the new Slipknot record, the new Avenged Sevenfold record, the new Tool record. So you can tell the kind of people that are working on our record
What do you
where they
think of all this new stuff? Do you listen to any of it, or are you just like old school like me?
yeah, I'm a creature of habit. I
Right.
do tend to listen to the stuff that touched me emotionally in my younger years, but I do listen to all music.
Yeah.
And believe me, I have a palette that loves a variety of music. You can't listen to metal all day long. It will drive you crazy. At some point you got to sit back and breathe. And so for me, I love listening to classical music. As a matter of fact, in my car, when I'm driving in LA, there's a very famous classical music station, which is KUSC. USC is a very famous university. It's the University of California, but they've got a radio station and it's all classical music. So all day long you hear it's like Vivaldi, Grieg, Beethoven, Mozart, you name it. They're played and all day long. And because I'm always listening to that driving in the car, especially doing this record, a lot of that I absorbed like a sponge. And I think a lot of that had an effect on this new record. The way I'm playing, a lot of the way I'm phrasing things, a lot of it was, I was definitely being influenced by Vivaldi big time. Grieg for the heaviness, Beethoven as well. So,
Have you ever thought of doing a solo album away from metal? Not necessarily classical, but if you did do a solo album, what would you do?
oh, good question, Jason. Well, so the guitar kids that like me, they know the instrumental songs I've done, like songs like 17th Century Chicken Pickin'. There's Spanish Fire.
Yeah.
I've done the instrumental Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Yeah,
Uh,
whatever that one. Yeah.
and people, it seemed to resonate with a lot of people. So for me, if I did an instrumental record, it'd probably be in those lines. But there's something also, because I'm a huge and always have been a fan of Gary Moore. I've thought many times, should I do a record, like a solo record under a different name or something, like what Gary did but Still Got the Blues?
What would you do? Would you sing on it?
No. The difference
Why?
between
Why?
the playing, I can do Gary very well, but the singing, why? Because I don't have the voice, at least to my expectations and my standards.
So would you hire other guys like 5 or 6 singers to do different songs for that'd be a good thing for you if you ever consider
That
doing
would be,
it.
yeah, that would be very cool. Absolutely.
I could put you in touch
Yeah.
with some good singers, Chris.
Yeah. I believe me, I know them. And but when you're doing the blues, you're looking for a blues guy, and you're looking for that type of music. Like I love Joe Bonamassa,
Yeah.
great cat. But Gary was a huge, I wish people would probably hear that my playing. Gary's definitely one of my biggest influence as well. So it's like when I think about the way he plays, if I were to branch off and to do something a little different, maybe it would be something like that.
Yeah. I got to see Gary Moore many years ago doing the blues tour.
Oh, how was it?
It was all right, but I preferred his rock stuff. I wish I'd have seen him doing Corridors of Power and shit like that, man.
Of course. Well, we've seen all that because it's on YouTube. You can see footage of him
Yeah,
doing
but you've
those
never
tours.
seen it. I've never seen him live. I only saw him live doing the
Oh,
blues.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. When he first did the blues stuff, I was the same way. But
Yeah,
remember, your question wasn't, I'm never going away from metal and the hard rock stuff. I'll do that forever.
right.
But you're asking me if I were to branch out as kind of like a side project, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Just out of passion, probably something like that.
yeah. Just to get out of your system, just something different, just on your own, and then go
Yeah,
back to Impellitteri doing the shredding, potato shredding. So, I mean, you've also got my friend on this album, Jacob Hansen. I guess he engineered, mastered it for you.
yeah. Jacob, he also deserves a world of credit. You know, you talk about the power of the record now. Mike Plotnikoff and June Morikawa and the team, they helped us capture the power and capture the raw energy of the band when we're recording. They did a crushing great job. But at the same time, when you mix it, a lot of mix engineers can ruin it,
Mm.
right? And Jacob enhanced it. He made it even bigger. He took us to a next level. So I love Jacob. I'm thrilled that he did this record.
Was this album recorded in like a studio, all of you together, like you did old school, the old school way?
Yeah, we were all in the studio when we were tracking this whole thing. And then some stuff you go and do in your own places, right?
Right.
But for the most part, we were all together in the studio, especially when Paul was tracking, everybody was there.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. The drums go first, then the bass, then the guitars, vocals, and then that's pretty much the way it works, I guess. So, what's your favorite songs, Chris, from the new album? Other than Wrathchild, which is a Iron Maiden song. Oops, sorry.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, let's start with that. I do love Wrathchild.
Yeah.
Let's say what that was. And a buddy of mine has got a news site. He told me something. I didn't even realize this. You know, we did Wrathchild because basically, when you look at money and greed and corruption, it turns people into monsters. And a lot of times people realize in life, maybe end of life, oh, why did I do this? Why was I this greedy person? You know, it turned on me. You know, when I was supposed to have this great life, turned it, I hurt a lot of other people, makes me feel miserable. And, you know, it was an idea of, well, what if we took this child that was instilled by this corruption of greed and just controlled by this thing and eventually comes to his senses and this like almost like angelic force comes down and gives this child the ability to put the wrath back on the powerful and the wealthy and all that stuff. And I went, oh, that's kind of like Rothschild. Rothschild is the if you know anything about the Rockefellers, these are all titans of industry, billionaire families.
Yeah.
All those people are like these legendary, you know, gazillionaires, right? People that instilled all this wealth, but they also hurt a lot of people, right? Carnegie's, etc. So Rothschilds were one of those very wealthy families. Well, I was like, oh man, let's do a song like that. And we had that idea of Rothschild in there because of that. And then I said, wait a minute, but the song's really about the wrath, but we can't call it Wrathchild. That's an Iron Maiden song. And I love that song. And we're
Yeah.
like, no, we can't do it. And then typical, it's usually me. I'll blame me on this, not the other guys. Original's like, no, dude, let's call it Wrathchild. Talk about a tribute because if we love Maiden, the idea is, if anything, it's just going to talk about the story of what this is about. But if anything, it's also going to show our true colors, right?
Yeah.
Because if I didn't call it Wrathchild, if we did call it Rothschild, people might not have thought anything of it. Like, you know, and Maiden, again, is a huge influence on us, right? So I thought, no, let's stick to our guns. Let's call it Wrathchild, but we're going to separate the words, right? It's going to be two words versus one. Now, this is interesting, and I didn't know this truthfully. Turned out, you know what Iron Maiden's original title for Wrathchild was?
No.
Rothchild.
Roth.
Roth, like Roth, like David Lee Roth.
Yeah,
Rothchild.
yeah.
I had no idea.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. This guy actually told me recently, he showed me a picture of the original demo notes of the titles of the song. And there it was and this is Maiden, it was Rothschild. I was like, all right, so they must have subconsciously rubbed off on us some way so deep that we were thinking Rothschild originally. Go, no, man, let's do Rothschild because it's about a wrath, right? And then our nod to Maiden. So, anyways, but by the way, that is one of my favorite songs on the record.
So what's your other favorite songs on the album?
I love Out of My Mind Heavy Metal, mainly because that definitely shows our Blackmore influence and where we come from the late 70s. You know, it reminds me a lot of the song Burn. When you play it, it's completely different, but it feels very much like that kind of song.
Yeah.
And that music's always resonated with me. And so when I hear it back, listen to it, even when we play it live, it's so much fun. It just brings smiles to all our faces, you know?
Yeah.
And so I really dig that song a lot. Let me see what else we have. Power Grab. Power Grab is my love of when you can do drop D, where you're down tuning a whole step on your low E string.
A lot of these Scandinavian bands do it, don't they? Like In
Yeah,
Flames
exactly,
and
exactly. And it's just got this really cool energy and vibe to it. So I dig that song. I know Paul's favorite song is Super Kingdom. It's AI Super Kingdom. It's about basically man versus machine,
right.
computers, AI taking over the world, right? And it's just got such a fun, cool groove to it. But I got to be honest, when you ask me questions, and this is why I like this record a lot, you can see my pause to answer because I'm struggling because I really am digging all the songs.
Yeah, it's a very,
Really like.
very, very, very heavy album. But I got to review this album a couple of weeks ago because, as I told you earlier, I was on tour with Anvil. So when I got back home from the tour, I kind of caught up on my favorite albums that I missed when I was on tour. So I made sure you guys were in the on my website before end
Well,
of the year, and it did get a good write up. So if you've not seen it, you need to check it out on YouTube, my YouTube channel. And I think so. So you're going to be touring, like I say, in Japan. You've never played the UK, have you? Unless you played with Graham back in the day.
that's correct. We haven't. It's a travesty, It's like why we haven't come over and played. I mean, it's going to sound arrogant, and it doesn't mean to be arrogant in any way. But when we first came out in America and we had our success, right? At least in our height. And Japan, we got spoiled. We were playing like really big venues. We could bring a big production, and it was really rewarding, and it's almost like we wanted to do that everywhere else in every other country, and it's hard, like a manager said the other day, Chris, you can't just expect to go over on your first tour and headline O2,
Yeah,
right? He goes, I know you want to bring the production, and the reason I do that, it's not like, oh, look at us, we can sell 15,000 tickets or whatever. It's more about being able to put people in an environment where they're enjoying it. Look, when we first came up, we were kind of learning our craft. Rob and I were playing in cover bands together, and we'd have to play these clubs. And sometimes the clubs were big and sometimes they were small. And I remember in the small places, I still had a blast as a musician playing. I loved it, but you could tell it could hurt people's ears, the power, the volume, just we're loud, right? And so it's like I'm thinking, are people really enjoying this? You're in this dark venue, and it's like for me, when you're in a theater or an arena, it's a nice night out for the people. They enjoy themselves. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And so we've always tried to play places where we could provide that kind of experience. Right now, and people think I'm being stuck up or, like it's below us, and it's not, But so when we do get offers, we've had some offers to play some really tiny places, and it just reminds us, like, great, we're going to get there, and we can barely even put up the drum riser.
yeah,
How's that? Do the fans that wanted to see the band all these years, are they really going to get a great experience? You
yeah.
know,
It's
it's like,
very touch and go in the UK. You either play too big or too small.
yeah, it is. Well, it's like that in the US now too, right? After COVID, a lot of major venues went under. Yeah, America's very tough. I'll tell you. So before we did our last Japan tour, and I think it was European festivals, we did the East Coast in the United States. So we did Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York City. And I'm going to be very honest, so you guys will like this. So I think in Connecticut, I don't know what the venue was. It was large and it was packed, right?
Yeah,
But how many people? I don't know, right? Maybe 1,000 people, maybe less, maybe more. Decent size, right? And then in New Jersey, I think we played a similar venue and it was pretty full. I don't know if it was sold out, but it was pretty packed, right? And then here comes New York City. So we get to New York City. This is great, man. Now we had a promoter put us in this venue that I was like, I don't really want to play this part of New York City, but whatever, we did it. They have us go on at 1 o'clock in the morning. So we get to the venue very late. We come out of the dress room, get on stage. If there were 20 people,
oh
20
wow,
people, I would be shocked. I will tell you, those 20 people had the time of their life. I don't think we've ever played so good.
That's
we
usually the
had
case.
we had so much fun. We were like, all right, you 20 people who paid for this, we are going to give you everything we got. It was great.
So,
So
so, so when you write these songs, then Chris, I mean, Rob writes all the lyrics, you write all the music. How long did it take to get all these songs together for this new album?
yeah, 5 years.
Really?
Yeah. I've always been, for me, rule of thumb is always it's done when it's done. You can't rush things.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of these songs come to me in minutes and I've got the rough outline of the song within an hour and it's pretty much there. Right? Some of the songs in the record, they literally happen that fast. Other songs you need time to develop, you know. You need and also by the way, for me, I've learned this and it really has at least worked for me. I need time away from this. So, I record a bunch of songs like as a demo, work on it with Rob, get the rough idea out, and then move on. And then go back maybe 2 months later and listen and go, all right, what's good here? What's bad? And a lot of times you get lucky and you find, oh, this really is great. But there are times you go, oh, dude, this sucks. Are we on crack? What were we thinking? So, but you need separation and time and space to do that.
Yeah.
And so that's really why we take so many years in between our records. So when we know a song goes on a record, especially like War Machine, we believe in it, right? The song has conviction, our performance has conviction. It just feels like a magical song, you know? And that's kind of the way we work. So we're not one of those bands where we push records out every year or two. It's always been that way.
Yeah, I mean, you've been with Frontiers now since the Venom album. I mean, they
Yeah.
used to be quite a hard rock AOR label, but they've started to sound a lot more heavier bands, which is really good. Do you feel
Yeah,
you do feel comfortable being on that label now with all the bands that are coming out? There's some heavy bands on that label.
I do now because they have a new guy, Jeff Stevenson, and it was Mario and yeah, it was Mario who's the president of the label convinced me to stay on the label because originally I was thinking maybe I should jump to like, like whoever the metal of the, whatever the flavor of the minute is of the big metal labels. I thought maybe we should jump. But Mario convinced me, he goes, no, we just restaffed the label. We brought in Jeff Stevenson from, I think, Warner Brothers and Universal Music. And Jeff's been amazing. As a matter of fact, last week, we are now for heavy hard rock in the United States, college radio stations are very important because that's the underground, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a very big movement where probably millions of kids across the United States listen to different college stations. And so right now for hard rock heavy metal, we're the number 2 band in the country, which is
Wow,
amazing.
that's good.
I just saw from skateboard marketing and they have a chart, right? And they do like skateboard marketing works for bands like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. They work their records. And so on the metal record on Contraband, we went up to, not last week, I think the week before, we went up to number 5 on the chart, which again, bands like Linkin Park are out, Motley have some new stuff out. I mean, Body Count. I mean, there's all these big bands on there, Arch Enemy, right? All those bands. And so we've charted really high there as well, which we haven't charted in years, right? Doing this stuff. So War Machine is getting a lot of attention.
What
Whether it changes our success, I don't know. But I can tell you right now, everybody around the United States are listening to War Machine, especially, people in the industry, mega. I can't tell you how many big, very big name metal bands have been reaching out to me going, dude, this album is badass. This is amazing. That's how you do it.
So what does Slayer think of it and Kerry King?
I have no idea. Thorn in the side? No. No. No, listen, by the way, I really like Carrie's new record. I like it a lot. I think they did a great job. The production's really cool. Songs are fun. I really like what they did.
So what sort of reviews have you been getting for this album, Chris? Since it's been
Um,
released, have you been getting any negative ones? Has ever been really
sure. Oh, yeah,
supportive?
sure. Oh, yeah. There's always going to be people that hate us, and we'll always get that. I've seen, for the most part, when I say fair, I think when I read a review, and I do, I'm just fascinated and curious to say what people say. If there's a constructive criticism, like been there, done that, right? We're repeating ourselves, that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, I understand. It's like when we're trying to evolve and grow, we are. But at the same time, there's going to be that stuff where we're just we're comfortable playing that style, right? Like Out of My Mind. And so it's going to be reminiscent of stuff in the past that we've done. But that could be construed as, that's not a perfect record. We want to hear everything be completely fresh, never been done before, right?
Yeah.
So you'll get, opinions like that. Trying to think if there's anything. There hasn't been really anything that I've read that was really like, wow, that hurt, Most of the stuff has been great. I mean, at least in the United States, the reviews I've been reading. A lot of people say it's a killer record. They think Paul Bostap's an amazing addition to this music. They think they've
Absolutely, yeah.
him really well. People are really digging Rob's voice on this record, and I'll throw myself in last. Yes, I just did interviews the other day, which I haven't done in years, with Guitar World magazine, Guitar Player magazine, Decibel. All the big media have been calling me, and they're telling me I'm playing great, better than I've ever played, So that's been really nice. So it's a horrible answer for your question. Everything out there, is fair, what I'm reading, but that doesn't mean that everybody's bowing down to us and saying, this is the greatest thing ever, right?
Yeah.
No, there's certainly constructive criticism, and I'm down with that. It's cool. But remember, when you listen to our record, you got to understand we're human beings. This is self-expression. This is who we are. So there's a lot of growth and evolution that you're hearing on this record. But at the same time, of course, we're going to repeat some of the stuff we've done in the past because that's who we are.
But it's not only just that. There's only so many scales on the guitar. You're going to make the same kind of notes as you probably made 20 years ago.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's funny. I mean, when people like me to, instead of me talking like this, turn on, go, Konnichiwa, Genki, that's good. Boko wa Chris Impellitteri, and start speaking Japanese. I mean, all right, I guess we could do Japanese, lyrics on the record. People may be like, well, that's different,
Wow. So, I mean, what sort of songs are you going to be playing live from all the albums you've done? So many great albums. Is it difficult for you to pick a set list now?
It is. It's getting harder because there's a lot of stuff, but there's the fan favorites. I will tell you, because Paul's playing with us, we're doing a lot of the new stuff. Out of My Mind, heavy metal, that's definite. We're playing that. We're doing Power Grab. We're doing Maidens. We're doing Wrathchild. We're doing Hell on Earth, which is the newest music video we did, which I love that song. Yeah. It's another one where you can hear the power of Paul. Yeah. It works. It's just a fun song. We did a music video for it on the way. If you want to see it, I'll
put the link at the end of this interview so people can watch it.
Yeah, it's Hell on Earth. It's a lot of fun. So we've got that track. So those are 4 songs. I think we're going to do Super Kingdom as well. It's a really fun song to play. So already we're now that's 5 songs off the new record. Then we're doing Rat Race, which is a favorite of our fans from Screaming Symphony. Of course, we're doing Stand in Line. We'll probably do Lost in the Rain, which is the very first song we ever recorded. Actually, that's a fun one for your viewers.
Right.
Have them go on YouTube and just listen to Impellitteri Lost in the Rain. It's the very first song Rob and I, as the band Impellitteri, ever wrote and recorded together.
So what's your set list then? 2 hours, hour and a half?
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half, 70 minutes. Yeah.
Right. That's brilliant. But hey, Chris, I want to thank you for doing this interview. It's been such a long time since we've last done an interview.
It's good to see your face. Absolutely.
Years.
Yeah, Jason, it's awesome.
Please keep in touch, my friend. Do you have anything to say to the people watching this on YouTube?
Yeah, well, first of all, I wish all of you good health, love, prosperity, happiness. We're going through some crazy stuff right now in LA. So outside of that, I hope you guys get a chance to check out our new record, War Machine. Hopefully you love it. If you don't love it, it's okay. But check it out. So, yeah. Brilliant.
Well, you stay safe, Chris. Please keep in touch. But it's so good to see you again, Chris. It's been such a long time, but please be careful. I know the environment you are in California, and please, I hope all your family and friends are safe as well.
Thank you, Jason. I really do appreciate it.
God bless you, my friend. You take care. Say hello to Paul and the guys for me.
Will do. Thanks.
Cheers, thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.